What's going on, guys? I am Jaycons. That's a cup of coffee. It's Project Renegade. This is some electronics. And yeah, today the plan is to put those electronics in Project Renegade, and I'm just gonna drink this cup of coffee. Alright guys, as you can see, I took all the electronics out already. I took the top plate off in order to make it a little easier to run wires. Actually, I dremeled a small channel through here. That's where I'm gonna run my wires. All my electronics are going to be set up over here. I'm going to set the receiver up on this side. I also had to Dremel out quite a bit of the back plate here. This spur gear is just slightly thicker than the stock one. I wanted to switch to metal spur gear. Couldn't find one specifically for this truck. This was for like a red cap something or other. But it was close to the same size. Just ended up being a little thicker, and well, it rubbed if I didn't Dremel all that out. So yeah, I did, and I made it work. I mean, this is a 5+ year-old chassis. Parts are kind of hard to find. You have to order them through Imex if you want actual, real Renegade parts. So I just kind of find what works, and it makes it more fun. Alright guys, so first off we got the motor here. We just set it in. I'm going to set the gear mesh on this truck with a piece of paper. Because with this truck, in order to really screw it in, you actually have to flip the truck over, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to stop recording because my drill's a little loud, and when I come back I'll have this motor installed. Alright guys, well, motor is now installed, screws are tightened, and as you can see, the paper method, it's kind of hard to see on camera here, but you can see the paper method gives us just that little bit of slop we want in our gear mesh there. Next thing we're going to install is the speed control here. Easy Run Max 10 by Hobbywing. Speed controllers are really easy to install. You take your double-sided servo tape and your speed controller. We'll put a little bit of servo tape on the bottom of the speed controller and just kind of drop her in. Okay guys, so we got the tape on the bottom. Pull the protective film off. Decide exactly where we're going to want this thing, and let's see, where do I want it? I'm thinking right about here. Bloop. Alright, because now we're going to have to run our heat sensor, because this combination here has a heat sensor. Plug the heat sensor in. We'll worry about running our wires a little cleaner here in a little bit. This is going to run under through here. And again, I'll worry about cleaning that up here in just a little bit. And I'm actually going to have to take the drive shaft out to run that through. So I'm going to go ahead and pop my drive shaft out, run that wire through, pop the drive shaft back in, and I will be right back with you. So our next step is going to be to install this servo. This is just a cheap servo. I got it on Amazon. I'll put a link down in the description. So far I've used it a little bit, and it actually seems to be holding up pretty well. So with this servo, I've already got it in our little servo mount here for the Renegade. Got the 2 holes go in these 2 center holes here on the chassis. The 2 outer holes are for the screws that are going to hold it in. And let's go ahead and, well, I'm probably going to run the wiring here. Run the wire underneath, and then I'll set the thing in the chassis. Just like this. Oop. Now I got the 2 screws for that servo. Need to go into the bottom of the chassis. Bingo, bango, bongo. We have life. Now, something I forgot to show you guys earlier is when you install the motor, you'll have an ABC wire on the motor. You got an ABC wire on your speed controller. With a censored setup, I mean, that makes a huge difference. With sensorless, it really only makes a small difference. You just want to plug these wires in here. And when you go to run it for the first time, if it's running the wrong direction when you pull the throttle, all you got to do is pop 2 of these wires out, switch in places, and that will reverse the polarity of your motor. So you pull the trigger, it's going to go forward. You don't want to do that with a censored setup. With the censored setup, you got to go into the settings and actually change the settings in your speed controller, or you're going to burn something up. But it's not going to hurt a sensorless setup like this. Alright guys, so now moving on to the other side of the truck here, we got our on-off button, we got our receiver. I'm going to run my receiver this direction. It gives my wires a little bit further to go, because I mean, I've got quite a bit of wire here, and I really don't want to cut it because I don't know how long these electronics are going to stay in this chassis. If I'd planned on keeping these in here forever, I'd keep them I'd actually cut them down to the length they need to be and put new pins on them. But yeah, I'll get servo tape on these and we'll move on. Alright guys, so now we've got our receiver and our power switch taped down here. We got 2 ends coming from the other side. We got one for our servo and one for our speed controller. So what you want to do, the way I remember it anyway, is your servo is going to be channel 1, because it's channel 1 to turn. Your speed controller, which is this plug, is going to be channel 2, because it's channel 2 to burn. So you got 1 to turn, 2 to burn. And do a little bit of wire management on this thing. Throw some tires, a body, battery in it, and it's going to be ready to rock and roll, I think. Alright guys, so today we were able to get all of our electronics installed: motor, ESC, servo, receiver, and I threw a battery in there just for good measure so we could make sure everything turns here. And as you can see, it all works. So yeah, we should be pretty much ready to get this thing outside and see what it can do. So thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, do me a favor, reach down there, hit that big old subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next video.